What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is raining in Amarillo, Texas, but we're headed to Noble, Oklahoma, Thunder Valley for a streetcar takeover. So hopefully it's not raining there. We've been checking the weather all week, and yeah, it's been up and down, up and down. So as you guys saw in the last video, still working on some boost issues. I actually was gonna work on the car yesterday. I got home, you guys have seen the last video, but I got home at 4:40 a.m. Went to work at 5:30 a.m. with the truck and trailer, so didn't have time to unload. And then had to start figuring out what was wrong with the car, but I was really tired, so I took a couple-hour nap. And really didn't have time to work on the car or film. So there's one thing that I think was the issue, but we'll talk about that later in the video. So I really didn't get to work on the car and fix the boost issues. And we're driving in the rain to Oklahoma. So we got our buddy Enrique in front of us. Easy MTZ on Snapchat and Instagram. He's got the 6 single cab. So we're headed over there. Joe actually tested in Odessa last night over at Penwell Raceway. And because it was raining in Dallas, they got rained out. So he went to Odessa to test. And so he's headed to Oklahoma this morning as well. But he's got a lot longer drive than we do. So this one's shorter than Dallas. It's like 4.5 hours. And his drive's going to be like 7 hours from Odessa, I'm pretty sure. So we'll catch up with you guys at Thunder Valley. And we have made it to Noble, Oklahoma. Thunder Valley Raceway. So weather looks decent so far. There's supposed to be some rain coming in, but hopefully it'll either pass or it'll just totally miss us. So we're gonna get in line, get paid for. TG Motorsports, we already got a spot somewhere over there. And Joe's on his way, and then Mr. Enrique's behind us. Guys, look, Joe has upgraded this year. Joe's got a new trailer? Man. And that new wing, too. Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's actually Sunday now. Yesterday, unfortunately, got rained out. We waited pretty much till like 3 or 4 o'clock, and they finally made the call that the rain was just not going to stop. Joe had to unfortunately leave, so we won't see a racing video on Joe from Streetcar Takeover. He had to get back on Sunday. So and we've actually got to get back today too, but we're going to see if we can at least get some test and tune passes in, and then maybe at least go through first round just to see if we can test if the boost issue is fixed. Few things that changed on the car, but we'll talk about that later. But yep, got rained overnight. Enrique's here today. As you guys saw, he followed us from Amarillo. He's gonna be in the heavyweight class today, but we are gonna get everything ready to go and see if we can get some test passes in. All right, guys, we're about to go make a test hit for small tire, and then we'll get back in the lanes for street racer. Hopefully we fix the issue, and we're ready to make some test hits. Alright, I don't want to get too excited, but we blew the tires off, but the boost issue may be fixed. So I got back into it just to see what boost it would make, and it made more boost, it was a little smoother. So problem is now the boost is coming in really quick and hard, so we got to slow the ramp down. So we're going to try and get another pass here in a second, but Enrique is about to go. Enrique, what did you come for?
Came to get my first
9 second, baby.
Hopefully we're one and done.
Nah, he's winning the heavyweight today.
Oh,
He got it! Enrique is on cloud 9 right now. Look at his smile. Look at him. Bro, we got it.
Got it, baby.
Dude, not just a 9, a 984.
984, baby.
Woo!
Damn. Oh.
That wasn't even your best 60, is it?
Actually, it was.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I've been 156. It went 155.
Dang.
Still not good, but.
Enrique! All right, load it up. Let's go.
That's it. I'm done. Go home.
Guys, we have fixed the boost issue. Huge shout out to Paramount Speed. If you guys are in the Dallas area or really anywhere in Texas, hit them up. They really helped me out, helped me find the boost leak. But anyways, car is making some power up top. Now the problem is the track's hot, it's greasy, and now I think that it doesn't have a leak. All the boost is coming in a lot faster than the old ramps we had loaded into the MS-1000. So now we just keep blowing the tires off. Like the last pass we left on like 7.5 pounds of boost, 1 second ramp, and it just totally annihilated the tires. So we're now in first round of Street Racer. We're already out of small tire. I used small tires just to test pass. So now we're gonna turn down to like 5.5 pounds of boost and really slow the ramp down just to make sure it hooks. Go to A to B, and then see what it does after that. And dog's getting a tan.
Tasty. Look at these ghost legs.
So car made a decent pass. We ran the Charger Hellcat. I still won somehow, but pretty sure we lost the trans or it's out of fluid or something. But yeah, we're on the side of the road, just broken, no big deal. Well, shout out Enrique, Easy MTZ on Instagram for the tow. Track looks good from back here though. Nice green grass. You guys are doing an awesome job. But yeah, so we're getting towed back to the pits, and we'll see if we can figure out what's wrong with the Tangstang, but I'm gonna guess the weekend is over. The Tangstang is back in the garage. So guys, it was a long weekend if you've kind of followed along what's been going on. Started out Thursday, went and did some private testing to see if we fixed the boost leak issue with a new wastegate. I think that helped the issue. Obviously, anything that's leaking is never a good thing, but that did not actually completely fix the issue. What fixed the issue is, well, let me show you. Now let me just state before I show you this issue, this is why I don't run a shop. This is just my build that I like to document. I like to go racing, and this is part of racing. This is part of fixing up cars. You just find problems, you fix them. But this is why I'm not a shop, because I don't diagnose hundreds of cars every day. So some of these things I wouldn't know unless I worked on like thousands of Mustangs all day. But anyways, so on these 18s, you've got all these manifold vacuum ports off of the manifold up here. Well, at one point, I had taken the blow-off valve reference, so the vacuum line that goes to the top blow-off valve, I had taken it, and it's always been hooked up to one of these three. Now, what I had done at one point, and I don't remember why, it's because I was switching some stuff in here, I actually took this blow-off valve vacuum line reference and hooked it to this port back here. Now, me, just looking at this, I was thinking, oh, it's just another vacuum port because vacuum lines were hooked to that originally. So I didn't think anything of it. Well, my good friends over at Paramount Speed, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, but I was looking over the car with them, showing them that I replaced the wastegate, and we were double checking the CO2 and the lines and everything. And he asked me where my reference was, and I showed him this reference for the blow-off valve was plugged into here, and he said that was pretty much the issue right there, because this port on the front side actually goes to the port on the back side for your IMRC lockouts, which I don't have anymore. But anyways, it's not a clean vacuum reference source because of what it does inside the manifold. And so yeah, it's just not a clean vacuum source. It doesn't have vacuum on it all the time. You need a good vacuum source for like your turbo, you need one for the blow-off valve. And so my blow-off valve, I had actually ran it here on the old setup, and for some reason when I was cleaning up all these hoses and wiring one time, I moved it from here to back there, and that was literally my problem. Now, some bad things that can happen from that is you get turbo flutter, because the blow-off valve is not releasing when it's supposed to, so it's sending the pressure back through the turbo and you're getting the flutter. So luckily, my guys at Paramount Speed were there Thursday at the private rental, and they're like, man, that would make sense because we heard your turbo fluttering when you were doing the burnout. So the turbo fluttering means the blow-off valve was not opening and closing when it should, meaning it wasn't getting a good vacuum source, and sure enough, well, there you have it. So this is why people always recommend you just run like one of those vacuum blocks. You can get them from pretty much anywhere. Motion Raceworks makes them. You run one solid, really good vacuum source to the vacuum block, and then you literally run everything you need off of that one little vacuum block, and it makes it easy, and then you know you have a good source for everything. Whereas me, I had it tied into a couple different sources. So take notes from me. That was my issue. So we did fix the boost issue. Car started making boost on Sunday. I was really excited to test the car out Sunday. The first pass, it blew the tires off, and then tires shook a little bit. So we went back out, turned it down a little bit, and the car hooked, and the car did its highest mile an hour. It went 167.75 miles per hour, almost 168 on, I believe, like 21-ish pounds of boost, which is really good. That's pretty impressive for such low boost, with still coming soft out of the hole. So then what we want to do, well, we knew that the issue is fixed, so now we had all the boost back, and then we wanted to start ramping the boost in a little more. The track started to go away, it started to get greasy. I went to small tire, got knocked out first round, which this car cannot compete with small tire cars, but I usually enter small tire as like an extra pass that I can get to figure out the car for the other classes. So I raced a really good friend of ours, Michael Hollis. He's got a badass nitrous Nova, and obviously he put bus lengths on me, and I blew the tires off. So what we did is we knew that we had the street racer class next, which was a quarter-mile class. I ended up pulling a Charger HELLCAT, which is driven and owned by Z-Dung. He actually has the fastest Charger HELLCAT in the world. I believe it's gone mid-eights before, and he also tunes a Challenger that goes mid-eights. But anyways, he's got a built motor, built trans, Whipple, 200 shot, very fast Charger. He had the same issue as me, is trying to get out of the hole. So this is where turbo cars are really nice, because we can just ramp the boost in, we can slow the ramp, we can turn the launch down. Whereas like with a blower car like that, big Whipple car, like really the only thing you can do is either put a bigger pulley on it or lower the timing off of the hit, but it's not as easy to change as me, where I can just change it in the boost controller. So anyways, we turned the launch way down. We launched on 5 pounds of boost. I typically launch on like 10 to 12, even 13, depending on the track. But like I said, the track had gone away and I wanted to win the round. So we turned the boost launch down to like 5 pounds. We'd left the ramp on like a 1.25 second ramp, which is a pretty slow ramp for this car. And then we put the overall total boost on the controller at 28, which on the car was probably making like 23, 24 pounds up top, not too much. And the car went 530s at 130 miles an hour, leaving on 5 pounds boost, cutting a 127 60 foot. So that was really good actually for leaving so soft and the track not really being there. He blew the tires off in the Charger. Halfway down the track, my car started to free rev, almost like when you break a gear in a car and all you have is neutrals, or you go through a clutch and like the car just free revs. That's essentially what my transmission did. And so what I originally thought was maybe it leaked, I blew a line or something and like all the fluid came out, but I looked under the car was no longer leaking, there was no fluid anywhere. So that had me kind of worried. I had Enrique come help me out. I told him to bring some fluid. I was like, I'm just gonna add some fluid just to see if it helps. And I added some fluid in the car, did not go anywhere. So I reached out to Eric Holiday, JPC, they're the ones that did the transmission, and they think it's either the pump or the forward drum. So I'm actually gonna pull the transmission, send it off to them, they're gonna take a look at it. That transmission has lasted me a year. I've beat the crap out of it. I've lost fluid in it. I've underfilled it, overfilled it. I've ran it way too hot plenty of times. That transmission's taking a beating, so huge thanks to the guys at JPC. Their Turbo 400 kits are really stout. I don't know how my transmissions lasted. So really the takeaways is it was pretty much my fault. I've had a trans temp gauge. I've never got it to work. So instead of me like actually diagnosing and trying to get it to work, I kind of just gave up on it. So if you guys watched the previous video, the fan had actually gone out on my trans cooler. It just blew a fuse. And so I went out a couple times testing and tuning without the fan working, and I didn't have a trans temp gauge, so I didn't know it was getting that hot. So my guess is that I was cooking the fluid really early on, and it probably burned up the pump at some point, and maybe burned up something else in the transmission. So it just kind of all fell together on Sunday. So really the takeaway is, it's my fault. That's part of what it is. I'm an idiot sometimes, but I need to get the trans temp gauge working. These are just things you live and learn. But anyways, that's part of racing. But I'm gonna get the trans temp gauge working this time. But we're gonna pull the trans and send it off to JPC, see what they say, and hopefully we get it rebuilt, get it built a little bit stronger this time. We'll have the trans temp gauge working, the fan's now working, and we can really keep an eye on stuff. But when you're starting to go faster, stuff does break. This ain't a OEM car anymore, so stuff is gonna break when you're trying to push it. It just sucks because I fixed the boost leak issue, and I knew we were so close to going 7s once the track got a little bit better, but some things just don't work out that way. We're still chasing the 710 quarter mile, and we've got tons of racing to do, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Hopefully you're subscribed to the channel. If not, go do that now. Hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one.